Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Couch Muscle. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Ethan.
And today we got some pretty interesting news about how Sony's pulled Spider-Man out of their whole Disney contract thing, allowing Spider-Man to be a part of the MCU. So we thought we would just talk about that really quickly.
Yeah, apparently they're still under negotiations right now, so it's not 1,000% confirmed, but there are multiple news outlets reporting that Sony has in fact pulled Spider-Man out.
Yeah, which I find to be really weird, only because I feel like they should be aware of what fans want out of their franchise, and I think everybody's super clear that what we don't want is for this to happen, and for some reason Sony feels compelled to take Spider-Man out just because the last movie was a really big hit.
Yeah, it's all about greed, man. It's all about just they had a little taste of success. It's kind of like basketball scenario. Mm-hmm. It's like you got a really, really great player and then a player right next to him who's like a Michael Jordan or something. Yeah. That player starts to think, because of all the success that they're having, that they're tough crap, that they're big time. And so they leave and they go to another team. But they fail to realize without the help of that character, without the help of that other player, they crash and burn. Now, you can even flip that around and say that the really, really good player wants to go to a different team because they don't want to share the limelight. Yeah. But they fail to realize that that supplementary player really helped them out a huge amount. Mm-hmm. They needed the John Stockton to the Karl Malone. That's two basketball players. John Stockton really was great at sharing the ball. Karl Malone was a great scorer. And together they made it to the NBA Finals. Unfortunately, they met a man named Michael Jordan, and it didn't really pan out super well. But anyway, it's kind of like that. That's how I perceive it.
Yeah. So two big factors that led into this are obviously the recent success of Spider-Man Far From Home, the most successful Spider-Man movie ever made.
Most successful Sony movie of all time.
Exactly.
All time.
They've never made a movie that has made more money than this last Spider-Man movie. And on top of that, their Venom movie that they came out with about
made
a
money
year back
too.
Made a lot of money. Considering what kind of movie that was. They didn't spend as much on that movie as they did.
I said in my video that broke the news about this.
Yeah.
I said that basically, even if you enjoyed Venom, you have to admit that as far as quality is concerned, the MCU, Homecoming, and Far From Home are far superior in every single way. Mm-hmm. So even if you like Venom, which I do, and I think you do, it's not as good a movie.
And I just really am curious to see what happens in the wake of this new news, what kind of backlash Sony's going to face, because I assume that most people are going to condemn this action more than support it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
And I mean, sure, there's going to be those Hot Topic fans, the ones that go and see Suicide Squad, even though they're not big comic book fans. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
I don't know what that crowd is. When I see
but it exists.
It exists. I don't know how to describe it, but that exists. And when Venom 2 comes out, that crowd will go see Venom 2, but I don't know if it will be as big of a hit if the fans aren't on their side. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel like whenever a group of people is quick to abandon a franchise, that franchise very quickly goes away. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that they just realize that and then they don't pull Spider-Man out, because the last two Spider-Man movies that we've gotten have been great, and I'd like to have more great ones and not a terrible reboot that's just going to be on the lines of The Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Those movies are terrible. Sony has a terrible track record with that character as far as their last 3 attempts without Marvel's help. So it'll be interesting. I don't know. It's going to be...
I think Sony will crash and burn. It's just they don't have the universe built behind Spider-Man that allows for movies like Homecoming and Far From Home.
Yeah.
They don't have those characters. They don't have the draw. And they've proven before that even when they're successful, the film isn't amazing.
Yeah. I think what they're aiming for is we have a successful Venom character, and the last Spider-Man movie made $1 billion. So let's put them in a crossover, and that'll be all of our money. That'll be all of our creative control. We don't have to collaborate, and that'll be a huge hit. But will it be a hit? Will it even be the same Spider-Man? Probably not.
I would think that it would be.
You think they would?
I think they would keep Tom Holland, yeah.
I wonder if there's a thing in that Marvel contract, though, that prevents that from happening.
There might be. I don't think so.
I imagine that Kevin Feige would be like, listen, if you're going to go and do your own thing, keep us out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I imagine that's what would happen, but I can't be 100% sure. Maybe there's a little thing where it's go give it a shot on your own.
I'm just interested how they're going to explain this in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, that's another big thing. It's where will Spider-Man be?
Are they just going to say he was killed?
Maybe that's their way of getting to the Miles Morales character.
But then they don't own Miles Morales either.
They don't own Miles Morales?
No, Sony owns Miles
It's
Morales.
just Peter Parker.
Yeah.
That they were allowed to use.
And then characters at Sony's discretion.
Yeah.
That's why Miles Morales was in Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we can't even get Miles Morales.
There's literally probably like nobody, right? What, like maybe Silk? Like, I'm sure that Marvel's got to own some sort of Spider-Man character, but that being said, it doesn't matter. This whole deal really like proved itself to be a negative at the end of it.
I think that they will come to an agreement, quite honestly.
Yeah.
I do think that they will.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kevin Feige had Spider-Man as a keystone of like the next wave of Avengers.
Yeah.
Like he was going to be one of like the main four.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope that they work it out. They have to work it out. Marvel's pulled through before. But apparently also during negotiations, it's kind of Disney that's being a stickler a little bit too.
Yeah, I can
It's
imagine.
not just Sony all by itself.
Yeah.
It's Disney saying that they want to front half the profits to make the movie and then return get half the profit.
Okay.
And that's the deal that was declined.
Yeah, that makes sense. And one more thing that I thought about after hearing this news today is it reminded me of the whole Hall H Comic-Con thing that they did.
Yeah, why there was no reveal.
Why there was no mention of another Spider-Man movie upcoming, and it's like maybe they just slipped it, like they didn't think to mention it because of its like recent success, and it's like just let it enjoy its own success.
But now it's revealed.
It's like they've probably been having problems with this for a while. So, I mean, who's to say what's going to happen? Hopefully they figure it out because the Spider-Man franchise right now is at its peak. It's never been better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So,
and there's a massive cliffhanger.
yeah, a massive cliffhanger that would be really upsetting to like not to see where that story goes, because that's two Spider-Man like plot details or plot points that they've never even touched in a Spider-Man movie before. The whole everybody in the city thinks he's like a murderer, and a villain, and then also everybody knowing his identity. It's like, is it just going to end there? Is that it? Spider-Man commits suicide because he can't handle the pressure. That's the story. I don't know. It's just it's a little upsetting. Hopefully they figure it out though.
I'm sure they will.
Any other thoughts you have on it?
Nope, that's about it. Come to an agreement.
Yeah. Let's all be adults here, Sony and Marvel Studios, and let's give all these 45-year-old men the Spider-Man that they want. And we bid thee adieu.